It's a pleasure to be talking here today at TEDxYouth at SWA. Because youth is the inspiration of my talk, and two, because the student organizers of this event are helping me prove my point today. Teaching is a great profession, and I feel like I'm in the great business, as teaching inspires minds, and teaching nurtures growth, and teaching develops the soul. But those noble aims with the grand words can sometimes give the impression that it's always the teacher that has to provide. It's always the teacher that has to give. I'm here today to say that teachers can also take a breather, take a step back, and just take in as much from the students. A few years ago, I was teaching in the UK, and I was teaching a GCSE class. And GCSE is a General Certificate of Secondary Education, and it's a set of exams that are taken by 15 to 16-year-olds after a 2-year course. And I had a student there, and who was so determined to help her classmates, and because she didn't have to study for herself a lot anymore, because she'd mastered and covered everything that she had to the year before. We set up a lunchtime club in my classroom so that her friends could come in and basically have a tutoring session with her. And that's for every day of the week, every school day. At the end of the year, she got her A stars, which were the highest grades, but more importantly, many students earned better grades because of her help. So I admired everything that she did. And I remember I definitely wasn't doing any of those things when I was 15. I was probably just stressing out over homework deadlines and just probably complaining about how I didn't have enough time to study. So at that moment, I realized, actually, she was inspiring me more than I was inspiring her. So I've taught in 2 countries now, in different schools and with different student demographics. But in all of them, as I teach maths to my students every day, as I observe them, as I communicate with them, my students unknowingly also give me something back. They reciprocate. They teach me things that can make us go further in life. So, now, okay, it's not really visible on here, but when you see this, what comes to your mind? What do you think of it? What do you think it is? Anything? Sorry? Exam? Okay. Yeah. And what about it? Sorry? Formula? Okay. Anything that strikes you? Why am I even showing you this? Difficult. Okay, yes. Well, loads of scribbles, isn't it? But as I was marking, I just came across this, and I thought this was perseverance shown very nicely on a sheet of paper. From this, I could see clearly that this student at first didn't know what to do, right? And then she tried different methods. And then she chose a suitable one until she finally got the correct answer. And she got full marks for it. And I thought to myself, would I have stopped? Or, at what point or at what stage would I give up? So this student taught me the importance of perseverance in what you do. So this is a closer look. You have the little circle there at the end to say that she got full marks. Now, in a previous school, I taught a class with very colorful personalities. One student brought a pair of high heels into class, and he was such a showman, right? He was into drama and everything. So he asked me, he was so desperate to strut around in high heels in class. And so he asked me if I had anything to give out so that he could help distribute them. And when I said no, he just took a pile of activity sheets, which wasn't even meant for that class, which it was meant for another class. And he said, this will do, miss. And then, so he just started to circle around the class and just putting one sheet at every table, only to collect them later, put them back in a pile, and put the pile back on my desk, and went back to his seat. While another student was, on another day, was looking at me attentively, looking very engaged, and he was just being focused. He was just focused on listening to my explanation. And so I thought, oh, I must have done very well with my lesson. It must have been captivating for that on that day, because he wasn't the most focused student normally. At the end, he put his hand up and he said, "Miss, I've been looking at your eyebrows, and I'm sure they look like those of the lead singer of some boy band." And so, yeah, it wasn't my lesson actually that captivated this student. So, I definitely experienced all feelings teaching that class, but teaching that class taught me patience, and it taught me not to do things in haste, and also that things are not always as they seem. Students have also shown that we can get success if we love what we do. My best math students are those that love the subject. And I see that when that love is instilled, they would apply all the desired characteristics that they possess into learning mathematics. I guess, after all, Mozart loved playing the piano. Michael Jordan cherished his basketball moments, right? And Mark Zuckerberg must have been very passionate about his idea. So I think it's similar to when kids are playing the same video game over and over again, for example, just because they're fascinated by it, right? And also when we like to sing many times over because we like the song. And I think it's a similar kind of passion. And So as Confucius said, if you find a job that you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. My students have also taught me that anyone can make progress, however small, and that we don't always see progress instantly. And I think this is very relevant for me as a teacher, because we always measure things against progress and see whether we're making things better and all of that. So I had one student who came to me and said, "Miss, I want to start improving in math, and I think I can do it if I put the effort in." And of course, that's music to any teacher's ears, right? It's like, well done, okay, let's do this. And so he's started to show, a change in a positive attitude to learning. And I knew that he was working really hard at filling the gaps in his knowledge. I could see his marks improve, sometimes very small, not even noticeable. But there was definitely, if I look at my grade book, there was definitely an upward trend in his achievement. Until a few months later, in one test, he got the highest score in the class. The other students were shocked. They were baffled. They couldn't believe it. How could he have done it all of a sudden? But it wasn't all of a sudden. He was taking it one step at a time. He kept going until he eventually made that big leap. Finally, students have shown that they perform really well if they can put the knowledge of the subject into a broader context, into a bigger picture. And when they realize that knowledge can take them to where they want to go. And I think that's very important for me to realize as well, that I have to put purpose in what we do. So there it is, the 5 things that my students have definitely taught me: perseverance, patience, passion, progress, and purpose. I'm lucky to be a teacher, and I think when people say teaching is a rewarding job, teaching is rewarding, I think learning from students is definitely one of those rewards. I feel enriched every day seeing the many things that students can do at such a young age. One of them is organizing this event, this TEDxYouth at SWA. So I feel grateful because students have sometimes made me change my mind, but they've definitely made me better prepared as a teacher, and also they've made me reflect constantly as a person in my own quest to be better. Thank you.